We are formulating a new mission statement for Orange Capital Partners. The purpose of Orange Capital Partners is to generate wealth by investing in companies that fundamentally change the concepts and engineering practices of a particular market, grow new markets, and have large impact on those markets. This is a new mission statement. It's a little bit different than the old one, and in particular because we were not happy with the word disruption. It is used way too loosely. It means a lot of things to a lot of people. We believe by being more precise in this new mission statement, we are better formulating what we're really after. The purpose of Orange Capital Partners is to generate wealth by investing in companies that fundamentally change the basic concepts and engineering practices of markets, create new markets, and have a large impact on those markets. This is a more precise way to formulate our interest because we want to have a large impact on the world. And we are shying away from having objective goals such as improve the world, change climate change, or prevent climate change and things like that. But what we have is concrete goals. For example, we want to decarbonize energy. Tesla is our vehicle for that. We want to lower cost of healthcare and increase the application of engineering practices in life sciences, which has huge impact on medicine, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and energy. So there's a lot of regenerative growth potential here. Regenerative growth as defined as growth that is not using more resources, in fact, sometimes maybe even using less resources by growing. In terms of, for example, if we can use the workings of biology to generate better energy sources, if we can use the workings of biology to solve diseases by just changing the genes of a particular DNA structure and therefore preventing genetic diseases, which probably is the source of most of diseases in the world. So if we can have those types of impacts, then our mission is fulfilled. So Orange Capital Partners has a new purpose statement. The purpose of Orange Capital Partners is to generate wealth by investing in companies that fundamentally change the basic concept and engineering practices of markets and generate new markets and have large impacts on those markets. We are still fundamentally after generating wealth. The measure of wealth is freedom. So we at Orange Capital Partners believe in the concept of wealth as freedom, not wealth just as having money. Money is of course part of it, but wealth is defined as resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is having money, having free time, having the freedom of changing ideas, having the freedom of thinking, having the freedom of expressing ourselves, having the freedom of helping people in need, by having the time to do that, by having the flexibility to do that. All these concepts are part of being wealthy. And I think generating wealth is not just about making money. Making money, in fact, is not generating wealth. We've discussed this also in previous episodes. We are not interested in, for example, riding the train, buying IPOs and flipping them, doing any kind of algorithmic trading where we're arbitraging short-term mispricings in the market. None of that. We're not judging that as good or bad. It's just not our business. Our business is to invest in companies that fundamentally change the basic concepts and engineering practices of certain markets, create new markets, and generate wealth by having large impact on those markets. The reason we are confident that we can do that is because our principle stack, first of all, gives us a very strong foundation in how to actually approach this from an epistemological perspective. So it tells us, okay, what should we even be looking for? It requires a certain technical expertise, of course, but I think the technical expertise is not such that we have to be the engineers ourselves, nor do we have to be able to produce these products and services ourselves. What we need to be able to understand is the economics, the impact, the social impact, the cultural impact, and first and foremost, also the basic concepts that are changing and the engineering practices that are changing. Of course, they have to make sense to us. We have to understand them in a way that we can follow them and have confidence that they will work. For example, CRISPR is something I've never actually CRISPRed something myself. However, just by looking at the dynamics in the industry, the cultural evolution of the biotechnology space through CRISPR is giving me enough confidence that this is a field where basic concepts are changing and engineering practices are being put put to play with already very, very important results. So to summarize, Orange Capital Partners has a new mission statement. The mission is to generate wealth by investing in companies that fundamentally change the basic concepts and engineering practices of markets, create new markets, and generate wealth by having large impact on those markets. Now, of course, that also opens the question, well, why is that necessarily going to generate wealth? Changing fundamental concepts, changing engineering practices doesn't give you a ticket to make money. Or like Sam Walton said, you don't own anybody's wallet. So coming up with something in a laboratory or developing a new technology, coming up with an electric car when nobody wants electric cars, coming up with CRISPR when people are scared of gene editing, why is that necessarily going to create wealth? Well, here is where our principal stack kicks in. Of course, this is why it's so important to have a principal stack. Everybody in Silicon Valley, there's dozens of people every day claiming to have fundamentally new engineering practices and concepts for something. You need to know what to look for. You need to know how to calibrate these things. You need to understand 0 to 1. Okay, is this unique? Is this a monopolistic business that has growth potential? Is this the right team that has this idiosyncratic way of looking at things? You need to understand Jim McKelvey's innovation stack. Is this an innovation stack that can be built around a disruptive technology, around a new fundamental technology, a new fundamental concept? Can we start creating new, better problems, solve them, create better problems? You, of course, need to understand the innovator's dilemma. How is competition going to react here? And then, of course, you have to have a Popperian epistemological view of the world, which is, okay, whatever this is, it is progress. It is replacing not so good situations with better situations. Because if it's not, then it's not a good investment. For example, here are some fundamentally new concepts and engineering practices that, in my view, don't have better outcomes. Uber, DoorDash, Airbnb, and the list goes on and on. These are all companies that have certain aspects of fundamentally new technologies that are creating new markets, but they don't have some of the most important aspects, which is they're not creating much better products at much lower prices, and there's a couple of other reasons why we're not happy with those situations. So we at Orange Capital Partners have a principal stack in place because we need to have a guideline, we need to have a construct, a cathedral in which we know what we should be believing in, we know how we should calibrate information, we know how we should value information and analyze information and make conclusions. That's what the principal stack is here for. It's a filter. And it hopefully gets us into the right places, into the right investments, so we can generate wealth and fulfill our mission. Thank you.